Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. 2022 has finally arrived. We are here. I'm coming from my garage today as I sit out here, reflect, and truthfully, I'm getting ready to do a seafood boil. I'm about to light it up and just cook some seafood and reflect on the new year. I know it's traditional to make a New Year's resolution, but as you start out to make those New Year resolutions, if that's what you do, some folks do, some folks don't. But I know many folks are starting this new year out trying to think about, okay, how do I start this New Year's resolution? Because I want to do much better in 2022 than I did in 2021. And this can be a daunting event for so many people. And since I am in the leadership development business of helping people reach their full potential, I won't tell you what your resolution should be, but I will surely give you some reflections to reflect upon. And that's the first thing you should do. The first thing you should do is just stop and reflect. Because when you reflect, you can think of so many things. But while you are reflecting, frame your problem. Or should I say, what would you like to see as the end state? Looking at the end from the beginning. And I would also ask you to reference my book, Mission First, People Always. Because in chapter 1 of my book, it's titled Critical Thinking. And I deliberately speak to this very subject. Now, I don't want to tell you what to think, but I certainly want to tell you how to think, which is critical thinking. All the changes you want in 2022 starts with you. So you will determine your 2022 success outcomes. I say 2022, really 2022 and beyond. But the key is that you will determine your outcomes. Only you. Because you have to apply these things. And something, for you to think about. The words listen and silent, they are spelled with the same letters. Now, I hope you can unpack that. While they are spelled different, they both put you on the same trajectory of mastering both of these, because they will show you many paths or routes to your success in 2022 and beyond. Why? Because you will catch a lot by doing both. As much will be revealed to you, because just think about it. Listen and silent. As you reflect and you apply those critical thinking fundamentals that I talk about in chapter 1 of my book, Mission First, People Always, chapter 1, critical thinking. I talk about the process of critical thinking. And I want you to start that as you think about your New Year's resolution. Look at those fundamental principles that I talk about in critical thinking. And I will guarantee much will be revealed to you as you start this process. For many, it's hard because we have a penchant to speak and also show and tell. And then we have the, social media platforms that we can put so much out there. We should stop, reflect, and think. But I believe, your ultimate goal is to be your best you. Because your best you will make a tremendous impact for you and others. Now, let me ask you this. Do you pray for a blessing? Or do you pray to be a blessing to others? Now, that's just a question for you to reflect upon. Now, as you reflect upon that question, because I think there's a difference in those two. Of course, everybody wants a blessing. But think about what King Solomon, how he prayed for wisdom. What about if you prayed, for a blessing, to be a blessing to others? Because to be a blessing to others, that tells me that number one, you are blessed, and you're being in the position to bless others. Think about that. Think about that. listen in silence. Just think about that. Now, I'm also reminded of the great king, Alexander the Great. You know, he was a king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. You know, and I enjoyed reading one of his favorite books called the Iliad. While in my opinion, you know, he was a great king with all of his battlefield successes in uniting his country as one. But he was very awful at understanding the importance of reaching one's full potential. And that, you know, we all should at least pull from that. You know, reaching one's full potential. You know, Alexander the Great, you know, he had 3 wishes on his deathbed that I want to quickly talk to you about, because I think it's very important for you to think about these 3 wishes that he told his generals on his deathbed that they must follow out. And if we think about those 3 things, you know, it's very insightful, and it will help us as we lay out our roadmap for our New Year's resolution, if you're having a New Year's resolution. Now, you know, and his first wish was his doctors and his doctors alone must be the only ones to carry his coffin on his final procession to his final burial. So only his doctors could be the pallbearers. And his wish two was, as his coffin is carried to the gravesite, all of his worldly possessions should be spread out along the path to his gravesite. So all his riches and wealth, worldly possessions should be spread out along the path. And his wish 3 was, both of his hands must be kept hanging out of the coffin. Now, but what does this mean? You know, what does this mean? You know, he should be carried by his doctors, you know, along the procession to his final burial. You know, his doctors. Why his doctors? Because he had some of the best doctors on the planet, in the world. But having his doctors carry him along that route was to show the people that while he had the best doctors, in the face of death, they were no match. And so that explains why he wanted to show the people. He really understood the importance of time and making the best of your time. And his second wish was spreading the wealth alongside of the path to his final burial. Because he spent a lifetime earning his worldly wealth and riches, but guess what? He couldn't take none of it with him. So be mindful of that. All this stuff that we work for, in the end, we can take none of it with us. And the third thing was to have his hands hanging outside the coffin, which was to teach us that in this world we come empty-handed, and surely we will leave empty-handed. So be very mindful of that. You know, as you reflect on your New Year's resolution critical thinking. And I will leave you with this, because I think, I've been long enough on this video. I'll leave you with this. You know, God said, build a better world. You know, and I answered, well, the world is so large and vast and so complicated. And besides, I'm so small, useless, there's nothing I can do. But God said, in all his infinite wisdom, just build a better you. In 2022, just build a better you. And I'll end there. And as always, if you want to reach me, you can reach me at my website, smithlcg.com. And from that website, you can get a hold of me, you and your organization. I'd be more than happy to assist you in your future endeavors. So with that, as you build your New Year's resolution, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. And let's make it be great. Thank you for your time and patience.